Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. And coming up, we're going to play some revisionist history. Talks with Brandon Aiyuk, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, have stalled. Brandon Aiyuk even said on TikTok that the Niners don't want me any longer, but there's still a chance that a deal could get done. And when you look at this current regime, led by Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, when have they gotten these contract extensions done with some of their homegrown players? That's what we're going to take a look at on today's show to look ahead for when an Aiyuk deal could be completed. And this will give us a look and a timeline for when Aiyuk and the Niners could finally come to an agreement, end all of this drama, sign that contract extension to have the second team All-Pro from 2023 with this team for the foreseeable future. Let's start off with where things stand with Aiyuk currently. As I noted, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, he said this on Sunday, talks have stalled between Aiyuk's camp and San Francisco. Keep in mind that general manager John Lynch and Aiyuk's agent are very close. Fowler also said there isn't a lot of optimism toward getting a deal done. So that was on Sunday. Then on Monday, more drama because Aiyuk released a TikTok by design. He had his girlfriend record the entire video. He uploaded it to his own TikTok. It's not like this is something that went viral from somebody else who recorded something. Aiyuk recorded this by design, and he's on FaceTime with Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from LSU last year, who Aiyuk played with at Arizona State back a few years ago. And Aiyuk is on camera saying, quote, "They don't want me back, I swear." So sides here, not on the same page, going into training camp at the end of July, and Niners training camp will officially get underway with rookies reporting on July 16th and veterans reporting on July 23rd. From Aiyuk's standpoint and from the Niners' standpoint, it all comes to the leverage game. You have Aiyuk trying to get paid. The Niners have said, we want Aiyuk to be with this organization for a long time, but at a certain price. And from Aiyuk's standpoint, he's looking at Justin Jefferson from the Minnesota Vikings getting $35 million per year. Highest average annual value for a non-quarterback in the history of football and the most guaranteed money in the history of football for a non-quarterback. So Aiyuk probably looks at that and says, I haven't put up the numbers that Justin Jefferson has. I might not be the player that Justin Jefferson is. That's fine. I'll take $5 million less. Jefferson is the Vikings' number one. I'm the Niners' number one. And I'm coming off an all-pro season. So give me $30 million. From the Niners' angle, John Lynch, Parag, they're probably looking at $30 million saying, that's way too much. We don't have that type of money to give away, especially with Brock Purdy set to get paid next offseason. And the Niners have some leverage here, right? Because they could say to Aiyuk, you don't want to take our offer of $26 million? We'll increase it to 28. You want to budge from 30? If not, you know what, Brandon? You can play on the fifth-year option for $14+ million, and we also have the flexibility to franchise tag you after the 2024 season, so that once again, Aiyuk is still on this team. So both sides here have a little bit of leverage. The big question, will either side compromise? And for the Niners, will they go up for Aiyuk? And from Aiyuk's camp, is he willing to take less? There's a lot of similarities here between the Aiyuk contract situation and the Deebo Samuel contract situation. Deebo Samuel requested a trade. He said publicly in a way that the Niners didn't want him anymore. He used social media to drive fan reaction and outrage to try to put pressure on the Niners. What did Brandon Aiyuk do this week? He releases the TikTok video. It stirs up a lot of controversy. Fans are in shambles. They're thinking that maybe Aiyuk is gone, that the Niners don't want Brandon Aiyuk, and Aiyuk's using the same type of tactics that Deebo Samuel utilized 2 off seasons ago. Plenty more to get to here on the show, but make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have covered every single aspect of this Brandon Aiyuk story, and we cover all things Niners every single day. That's a big reason why we're approaching 134,000 subscribers, so hit that sub button and lock us in. Now, at the start of the show, I had said this current regime of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have a history of when they have paid the players that they have drafted, groomed, and developed. What is that timeline? Because we're in the fourth straight offseason in which this is taking place. And really it started back in 2020 when George Kittle signed his deal on August 13th. He did still partake in training camp. So there was not a holdout there, but there was some drama before he put pen to paper. Kittle's agent called the Niners' first offer after that first Super Bowl loss to Kansas City a Valentine's Day massacre. And then Kittle, while he reported the training camp without a deal. He did participate in all team activities, and eventually the Niners, Kittle, they come to an agreement on a record-breaking 5-year, $75 million deal with $40 million in guaranteed money. Next offseason, 2021, Fred Warner signed his deal earlier than George Kittle on July 21st. This was an interesting timeline because it was about a week before training camp got underway, and among all of the contract extensions that we're talking about on today's show, Fred Warner's involved the least drama, and it was the least contentious contract negotiation. The deal signed a week before training camp. It ended up being a 5-year deal worth $95 million, $40.5 million in guaranteed money. And just like Kittle's deal was record-breaking, the highest paid tight end at the time in the history of the NFL, that made Fred Warner the highest paid off-ball linebacker in the National Football League before Darius Shaq Leonard overtook him a couple of weeks later. This is another question that I want to pose to the audience here. And we're talking about some Niners legends on the show. Talked about Aiyuk, George Kittle, Fred Warner. Still going to talk about Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa. So who is your favorite current player on this Niners roster? Drop a name for me down below in the comment section right now. And this is obviously going to have and yield a bunch of different answers. Before we get to Deebo, Bosa, and Aiyuk, today's show is sponsored by Chubbies. You can get 20% off your purchase at chubbyshorts.com/chat. That's 20% off your purchase at chubbyshorts.com/chat. Summer is here. If you're looking to add to your wardrobe, you can do it with Chubbies. Swimsuits, shorts, shirts, they really have anything that you need to look good and feel good. Skies out, thighs out, summer is here, and our friends at Chubbies are bringing the good vibrations. Chubbies is a lifestyle apparel brand that makes every moment feel like a vacation. They say fashion is an expression of one's character. Look at this stud on your screen. So why not let the world know you're down for a good time? Chubbies offers a variety of high-quality men's apparel from super stretchy shorts and swim trunks and 3 short inseam lengths to pants, polos, and button-down shirts for when you need to hit up your favorite weekend brunch spot, hang out by the pool, or get some drinks with some people who you care about. Embrace the spirit of endless summer with Chubbies, the ultimate destination for bold, vibrant, and outrageously comfortable clothing for a limited time only. Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off your order with our exclusive code. Use the code CHAT at chubbyshorts.com/chat. We'll put that link down below in the comment section, in the show notes, and attached to the pinned comment of today's video. 20% off Chubbies. Hop on that deal right now. The next contract extension we want to talk about was the following offseason after Fred Warner's deal. That was in 2022 with Deebo Samuel when he signed his contract on July 31st. And this is going to be my 4th season covering the Niners, so I remember talking about the Fred Warner deal and then the Deebo Samuel deal. The offseason for Deebo and the contract negotiations were windy. They were full of drama, and it's very similar and mirroring what we're talking about now in the modern day with Brandon Aiyuk. Now, Deebo reported the training camp, but this was after he requested a trade. He was pretty much a hold-in. He he was at training camp, but not really fully partaking in some of the practices. And it was that long, windy contract negotiation where there were some doubts that it wasn't going to get done. With Deebo coming off that first-team All-Pro season, he ended up signing a 3-year contract extension worth up to $73.5 million with $58.1 million in guaranteed cash. And that made him a top 10 highest paid wide receiver at the time. And then in 2023, this one took the longest. There's no doubt about that. Bosa finally signed on September 6th, right before the season opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bosa sat out all of the team's workouts, voluntary and mandatory, during the offseason, and he struck a deal on the Wednesday before the regular season opener on Sunday. And at that time, you're thinking, and we talked about this on the show, are the Niners going to be without Bosa going into the regular season? I had always predicted that a deal was going to get done, but the closer that we got to week 1, the hairier that it got. And this was different because of all of the money in play. Ended up being the richest contract for a non-quarterback in the history of football. 5 years, $170 million, $122.5 million in guaranteed money. That came out to $34 million per year. Most guaranteed money, highest average annual value for a non-QB, and that lasted up until a couple of weeks ago when Justin Jefferson signed that new deal with Minnesota. And that brings us to where we are right now. It brings us to the remaining mystery. What will happen with Brandon Aiyuk? When will Brandon Aiyuk sign his deal? Will a deal even get done? And we're all tired of this story. We're all hoping that Aiyuk is going to be rocking that number 11 in the scarlet, red, and gold for years to come. But as of right now, a deal has not gotten done, and things are getting a little bit sticky with about 6 weeks to go until the start of training camp. Be sure to give me a follow on X. I'm approaching 13,000 followers. Give me a follow on Instagram, approaching 30,000 followers. I put out Niner updates. I put out a lot of short form videos in addition to the long form shows right here on the Niners Report on YouTube.